Tonight on NewsWatch, Syrian rebels asking for aid. The head of the opposition is in Washington trying to get weapons from the United States.
Plus, MERS makes its way to America. A look at the respiratory disease and why it has the medical field on alert.
And why some say without another spiritual awakening, America could be lost. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. President Obama is planning to meet with the leader of Syria's opposition forces.
The move comes as the Syrian government makes gains on the battlefield and President Bashar al-Assad plans for victory in a June 3rd election.
Yeah, the question now, is it too late for the U.S. to help end the violence there? Heather Sells reports.
Just days ago, the battered city of Homs stood as a rebel stronghold. But after the government's 2-year blockade and bombing campaign, the rebels have given up. Today, thousands of Syrians are streaming back into town, and the rebels are gone. Their surrender scene is paving the way for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The U.S. has already denounced his June 3rd election, calling it phony. This week, it's meeting in Washington with what it calls the moderate opposition and its leader, Ahmad al-Jarba.
His coalition, the Syrian opposition coalition that he has built, is an inclusive and moderate institution committed to the Syrian people and to the protection of all people, all minorities, all rights within Syria.
Just last week, the U.S. recognized this opposition group as a diplomatic foreign mission and pledged $27 million to help the rebels oust Assad. President Obama said today he'll meet with Jarba in Washington this week, but is it too little too late? Off the coast of Cyprus, international ships wait to collect the last of Syria's chemical weapons before a June 30th deadline, after Syria already missed an April cutoff. Early Tuesday, a leading human rights group said it has strong evidence that Syria used chemical weapons on rebels just last month. More grim news for a country that's already lost 150,000 people in its conflict. Humanitarian groups say more than 3 million Syrians have no access to essential goods and services. Heather Sells, CBN News.
And for more on the situation in Syria, we turn now to Tony Badran. He's a research fellow specializing in Syria at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Tony, the CIA is working with some rebels, training and providing protective equipment, but should the U.S. provide more weapons?
Yes, certainly. I think the effort that the U.S. is doing right now is way too little to address the actual dynamics of the conflict. It was recently, Secretary Kerry was recently quoted to have said to the visiting delegation of the Syrian opposition that the United States wasted a year in sort of getting its act together and supporting and consolidating the rebels. And in fact, they actually wasted more like 3 years because there's still yet to be any serious plan in terms of what the United States wants to achieve in Syria.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. 2 years ago, the Pentagon and State Department wanted to arm and train rebel groups. The White House said no. Did the U.S. drop the ball?
Oh, without question. I mean, the United States has yet to really zero in on the center of gravity of the Syrian conflict, and that is the regime of Bashar al-Assad, and Bashar al-Assad himself, obviously, as the head of the regime. Instead, the United States has concerned itself with the accidentals of the conflict and the various side effects of the conflicts. So it hasn't acted as a superpower, the one that can sort of impose a strategic guideline for the rebels themselves, as well as their sort of sponsor states. And to sort of achieve what it wants to achieve in Syria the way it wants it to achieve it. As of yet, the United States has been more concerned with kind of conflict management in the most passive way possible and just to avoid involvement in any way.
Tony, a big concern is arming rebels. A big concern with arming rebels is the role of al-Qaeda within opposition forces. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I think much has been made of this, but when you really look at the specifics of the conflict, I mean, there are a number of ways around it. I mean, everybody has said, the point has been made that, well, if you had addressed this earlier, the vacuum that arose that allowed al-Qaeda to enter would not have developed in this way, and so on. But now it's kind of too late. Well, it isn't really too late. I mean, this is a dynamic conflict, and if you want to work with a group and set up a group with the help of active intelligence services from allied countries that are neighboring Syria, there's every way to do so, and that's why even as of last year, a lot of the cabinet members in the Obama administration were still advocating this course of action. So there are clearly ways around it. One of the more extreme, it's not really an al-Qaeda faction, the so-called Islamic State in Iraq and Syria or the Levant. It's been fought by the various rebel formations, including Islamist rebel formations among them, local Syrian Islamist formations. So the notion that somehow to paint the rebels with this brush of al-Qaeda, or that we can't touch them because there is al-Qaeda among them, I think is more of an excuse to do nothing than an actual sort of serious reason for not getting involved.
Okay. Tony Bedran, thanks for your insight, sir.
Russian.
Nigeria says it's ready to open a dialogue with the terrorist organization Boko Haram. The government there is seeking the release of the nearly 300 girls abducted by the radical Islamic group. It's been a month now since the girls were taken from their school at gunpoint. Since then, some girls have been forced to convert to Islam, and some have reportedly been forced to marry. One Nigerian cabinet official says opening a dialogue could be key in bringing the girls home.
And a lot of promises have been made, and we're still pursuing those promises.
Meanwhile, the United States is sending surveillance planes to Nigeria to help look for the kidnapped girls.
A former prime minister of Israel is going to prison for 6 years. Ehud Olmert was sentenced today on charges of taking bribes. He was also fined more than $400,000. It marks the first time a former prime minister will serve jail time. He was charged in connection with a controversial building project in Jerusalem while he was mayor there. Olmert's lawyer says the punishment is severe and he'll appeal to the Supreme Court. But some Israelis thought the punishment was justified.
The justice system is finally doing something about a politician. You think that they're, above the law. They think that they're exempt from all consequences, and now there's some consequences.
We have an ex-president sitting in jail. We have ex-ministers sitting in jail. And Olmert did a lot for this country. Nobody takes it from him. But what he did was wrong. It was criminal. And unfortunately for him, he will have to serve his punishment, his sentence. That's it.
10 other public officials were also convicted of bribery and money laundering, including another former Jerusalem mayor and the chairman of a major Israeli bank.
New diplomatic efforts are underway to defuse the crisis in Ukraine. Germany's foreign minister arrived in Kiev today. His visit is an attempt to jumpstart talks between Ukraine's central government and pro-Russia separatists, calling for separatists to release hostages and hand over occupied buildings. Meanwhile, plans for an upcoming presidential election continue to move forward. The German foreign minister says the May 25th vote will play a crucial role in the future of the country.
A former Army Sergeant is being awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroism during combat in Afghanistan. Kyle J. White is the 7th living recipient of the award for actions in Iraq or Afghanistan. President Obama presented him with the medal during a White House ceremony this afternoon. The 27-year-old saved a fellow soldier's life and helped evacuate other members of his team after being ambushed in Afghanistan in 2007.
The second case of Middle East respiratory syndrome has been confirmed in the United States. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a man in Florida is now in isolation following his diagnosis. Earlier this month, another MERS case was discovered in Indiana. The lethal respiratory virus was first found in people back in 2012. Since then, there have been over 500 cases, the majority being found in Saudi Arabia. Nearly 140 people have been killed by this virus called MERS. And we turn now to our health correspondent, Lori Johnson, who has more. And Lori, about 27% of people that get MERS died. This is a big number. Tell us what is this illness about?
Right, 27% sounds pretty daunting. It's a very high mortality rate. Plus, there's no vaccine and no treatment. So it sounds scary, but people should not be afraid, certainly not panic, because it is very, very rare. The 2 people who have it in the U.S. are in isolation. It is a respiratory illness, so there are a lot of secretions. And it's actually a coronavirus, which is what the common cold is. So you get it like the common cold by touching surfaces and breathing air that people have sneezed or coughed in.
Well, the biggest concern for MERS seems to be among healthcare workers. Why is that?
Well, we know that MERS, unlike the common cold, is very difficult to transmit at this point. So that's the good news. So you have to be right up in someone's face, really close to them to get it, which is the case, of course, with healthcare workers. Both of the U.S. cases are healthcare workers who were actually treating patients in Saudi Arabia, got on a plane back to the U.S.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there seems to be a strong Middle East connection. Tell us about that.
Well, they think that MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, started in Saudi Arabia in animals, probably camels or bats in Saudi Arabia is what they're thinking at this point.
Wow, very interesting. Well, do we need to worry about this?
Not really. The good news at this point is that it's just really important to be informed. And really, the best thing is it's just a reminder to protect ourselves from all viruses by washing our hands to prevent getting sick. And then, of course, strengthening our immune system in case we do get sick. That, of course, means getting enough sleep, getting the right vitamins like C and D, calcium, magnesium, and zinc, healthy fats like fish oil and coconut oil. Yes. And another great way to strengthen your immune system is to reduce stress. Exercise is a great stress reducer. Also, giving and connecting with people is a great stress reducer. Friday on the 700 Club, I'm going to have a story about the health benefits of giving, and reducing stress is right at the top of the list.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Love it. All right, Lori, thanks so much for that advice. Mark?
Coming up, severe storms across parts of the country. We'll show you what areas are facing the worst conditions.
Did you know home appliance and major system breakdowns cost homeowners an average of $1,700 per year in repairs and replacements?
American Residential Warranty can help cover those costs with home service plans starting at less than $1 a day.
Plan options include coverage for central air, heat, and ductwork,
interior electrical systems and plumbing,
major kitchen appliances,
water heaters,
washers and dryers,
garage door openers,
ceiling fans, and more.
Even pools and spas.
American Residential Warranty replaced my dishwasher with a brand new one, and I only paid a small service fee.
I woke up on a Saturday morning, there was no hot water in the shower. So I called American Residential Warranty. They sent a repairman to fix the problem the same day.
Call now. There's no obligation. But hurry, if you wait until you need a home service repair,
it'll be too late.
Call 1-800-251-0958. That's 1-800-251-0958. Or log on to getahomeplan.com to find out which home warranty plan is right for you.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
A vote on possible construction of the Keystone Pipeline isn't likely anytime soon. A bipartisan Senate effort to approve the measure has stalled. That after Republicans blocked an energy efficiency bill tied to the Keystone vote. Democrat Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he would have allowed for a separate vote on the pipeline if the Senate passed the energy bill as is. but Republicans wanted to be able to make amendments to the measure. The Senate vote on the Keystone Pipeline likely would have pressured the Obama administration to act, ending years of delay for the project.
The first day of summer is still over a month away, but that isn't stopping the summer-like weather. And while heat waves are already hitting some parts of the country, snow is also still falling in other areas, and several states are under flash flood watches and warnings. Residents across the nation's midsection are recovering from severe weather and still bracing for more. 8 states from Pennsylvania to Texas are under flash flood watches and warnings. Heavy rains brought flooding in Illinois.
I looked outside and the water started to come down. It came down real bad. Next thing I know, my basement is flooding up.
In Ohio, heavy rains caused massive flooding that almost buried cars in a mall parking lot.
Really got ugly out there.
Several residents had to be rescued from their flooded homes, while in Texas, lightning set several fires. The same line of severe storms unleashed a cluster of violent tornadoes in the Midwest over the last few days. In Nebraska Monday, tornadoes ripped off rooftops, damaging homes and businesses, causing millions of dollars in damage. The state's governor has issued a disaster declaration.
The winds were somewhere between 70 to 95 to 100 miles an hour. And clearly today we saw the extent of what that wind damage did.
Parts of Indiana and Iowa were hit by strong thunderstorms and hail, which also caused some power outages.
We're concerned because my husband and I have a lot of meat and stuff in the freezer.
Meanwhile, out west, extreme weather of a different kind. Temperatures in the triple digits in some areas of California, paired with winds up to 80 miles an hour, are making for an extreme risk of fires. While in the Colorado Rockies, residents are digging out from as much as 3 feet of snow. Forecasters say the same system dumping all that rain from Texas to Ohio is heading for the Northeast by this weekend.
Up next, a third great American awakening, how some spiritual leaders are calling on God to spark a revival in the country.
CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
Did you know home appliance and major system breakdowns cost homeowners an average of $1,700 per year in repairs and replacements?
American Residential Warranty can help cover those costs with home service plans starting at less than $1 a day.
Plan options include coverage for central air, heat, and ductwork,
interior electrical systems and plumbing,
major kitchen appliances,
water heaters,
washers and dryers,
garage door openers,
ceiling fans, and more.
Even pools and spas.
American Residential Warranty replaced my dishwasher with a brand new one, and I only paid a small service fee.
I woke up on a Saturday morning, there was no hot water in the shower. So I called American Residential Warranty. They sent a repairman to fix the problem the same day.
Call now. There's no obligation. But hurry, if you wait until you need a home service repair,
it'll be too late.
Call 1-800-251-0958. That's 1-800-251-0958. Or log on to getahomeplan.com to find out which home warranty plan is right for you.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8, 7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8, 7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
Some say morality in America is on the decline, and without a third great awakening, the land of the free could be lost.
As Paul Strand explains in tonight's Focus Report, there's a new plan underway to spark that awakening this summer.
You need to slap yourself right now and get right with God, fall in love with Jesus, and stand up for America.
Originally from South Africa, Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne says God sent him to America with a word.
But there's coming a revival of signs and wonders and the lost. And he said, go tell the church to get ready for the coming revival.
Now he and others hope to spark that revival, starting in the heart of the nation's capital, holding 14 nights of mega-sized meetings in early July as America celebrates its 238th birthday.
We've come to light the fires right in the belly of the beast, if you could put it that way.
Promos for this massive undertaking, known as Celebrate America, will soon blanket Christian media.
God's not finished with America. I've got good news for you. God's not finished with this land.
Howard-Browne and others hope and pray this event will ignite a third great awakening and revive the nation.
In the 1700s, it was a great awakening. In the 1800s, it was, and we have to have one now. It's that critical.
Bishop Harry Jackson of Maryland's Hope Christian Church agrees.
Really at the root of America's problem, we really have a spiritual cancer that's really been eating away at our nation.
Retired General Jerry Boykin used to fight America's physical enemies overseas. Now, working with the Family Research Council, he's fighting spiritual foes. He says without a third great awakening, forces like those that took down mighty empires of the past will also bring down the United States.
We're going to wind up exactly like these other great empires, which only lasted on an average of about 200 years. We're going to completely self-destruct, and you see the beginnings of that now.
Jackson ticked off some of the sins plaguing the land.
We've got sex trafficking, we've got abortion, we've got the resurgence of racism, we've got hatred that is abounding.
3,000 babies aborted every single day in this country. We have over 300 million people. We use 70% of the world's drugs.
Before both the First and Second Great Awakening, the country was in a tailspin and Christians in despair.
There are preachers that were ready to give up. The nation was in a moral nadir. Greed, corruption, and sin abounded.
Howard-Browne sees similar things today, right here in Washington.
We keep going down the hole, no matter who's in power. God is taken out of every realm of our government, even though the scripture is still ingrained in marble on all the establishment. They can't get that out.
But Howard-Browne sees a special grace on America.
Knowing what I know now, we should be gone a long time ago. But it's because of the believer in this land and the hand of God that's still on America, and God's not finished with this land. So it's time for the church to rise up.
Boykin believes the power to save the U.S. is not in politicians, but in its believers.
Me plus the Holy Spirit, that's a majority.
During those first weeks in July, in the daytime, thousands of specially trained Christians will hit the streets of D.C. to evangelize and bring new converts to the kingdom.
Just really believe in God to cast a gospel net across the Capitol.
At night, those 14 giant meetings held between July 1st and 19th will feature worship and long looks at what made America strong, as well as what it'll take to make it strong again. There'll also be calls for Christians whose walk is weakened to make their walk strong again, too.
Awakenings really begin with individuals, people who are converted and transformed.
The event's organizers have a goal: to see political, spiritual, and business leaders uniting themselves and humbling themselves before God.
Coming together in the very hub of the nation and crying out to God for Him to transform us first and then to transform our nation.
These leaders believe revival could then sweep the land.
The Holy Spirit is contagious.
If the fear of God would come back in the people, it will have a ripple effect throughout the land. It'll go right through our schools. It'll go through our university campuses.
I know that the time is short, and I know that it's 2 seconds at midnight. We must run now. We must carry the gospel. We must run as never before.
For this to succeed, the organizers of Celebrate America say they need thousands of Christians who already have the fire of revival burning in their hearts to come volunteer in Washington this July to be foot soldiers in this war for the nation's heart.
I'm asking we the people, come and help us. Come and help us if you love America and you love the nation and you love the Constitution.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Great piece. Thanks, Paul. Up next, how a school presentation turned into an unforgettable memory for one third grader.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
Did you know home appliance and major system breakdowns cost homeowners an average of $1,700 per year in repairs and replacements?
American Residential Warranty can help cover those costs with home service plans starting at less than $1 a day.
Plan options include coverage for central air, heat, and ductwork,
Interior electrical systems and plumbing,
major kitchen appliances,
water heaters,
washers and dryers,
garage door openers,
ceiling fans, and more.
even pools and spas.
American Residential Warranty replaced my dishwasher with a brand new one, and I only paid a small service fee.
I woke up on a Saturday morning, there was no hot water in the shower. So I called American Residential Warranty. They sent a repairman to fix the problem the same day.
Call now. There's no obligation. But hurry, if you wait until you need a home service repair,
it'll be too late.
Call 1-800-251-0958. That's 1-800-251-0958. Or log on to getahomeplan.com to find out which home warranty plan is right for you.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Only on Game Show Network.
And finally, Memorial Day, just right around the corner, Mark.
That's right. And while many schools are using the holiday to teach kids about our country, one Iowa school is using it to reunite a father and daughter. Emma Miller thought she was selected to participate in a special presentation. The third grader had no idea her own dad was behind the whole thing. Major John Miller has been in Afghanistan the last 9 months. The Black Hawk helicopter flyer used the school's presentation as a cover for his surprise return.
It's good to hold her again and just, just happy to be back with her and with my family.
I'm just really happy that my family's probably now finally together.
This was Major Miller's 4th deployment. Wow, now that he's home, the family plans to take a vacation together over the Memorial Day weekend. Wow, there's nothing like that reunion.
Oh my gosh, 9 months for a little kid is like an eternity.
That's
To finally get to see her dad, that's that's
wonderful.
What a
It
great
was captured too. Get to see it.
Amen. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsWatch.
Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Good night.